If humanity ever wants to travel easily between stars, people will need to go faster than light. But in the past, traveling faster than light travel is possible only in science fiction. Well, until now. With modern technology and a string of new inventions, the news is that we can now actually travel faster than light. But how? Stay tuned, as in today's video, we'll discuss a revolutionary technology that will allow humans to travel at speeds faster than light. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe and like our video to stay updated with future technology, Elon Musk, or SpaceX. It is a universal rule that nothing can travel faster than light. The speed of light is 186,600 miles per second, or 300,000 kilometers per second. In the blink of an eye, it takes light a little over a second to go from Earth to the Moon. Imagine going from Los Angeles to New York in a fraction of a second. That feels impossible, right? To understand better, let's compare two other fast objects. Bullets travel at more than 3 times the speed of sound, averaging at 2,600 miles per hour with a maximum speed of 7,000 miles per hour. Another example that fits the context best is a spacecraft. Spacecrafts are the fastest things made by humans. Rockets that are used to break away from Earth's gravity need to reach a speed of 25,000 miles per hour. Currently, the Parker Solar Probe from NASA is recorded as the spacecraft that travels the fastest. After launching from Earth in 2018, it skimmed the Sun's scorching atmosphere and used the Sun's gravity to accelerate to 330,000 miles per hour. Even though it's an astounding speed, it's just 5% of the speed of light. Science has come a long way, and it now seems that reaching 1% of the speed of light is achievable. This would take a lot of energy, but the issue is whether we can really achieve it. The USS Enterprise, powered by a warp drive, zips back and forth through the cosmos in the sci-fi series Star Trek. Following the sci-fi warp drive, scientists have come up with a new concept. Unfortunately for space enthusiasts, it looks to contradict Einstein's calculations, which generally prohibit movement faster than the speed of light. With the insertion of fictitious exotic materials, this science fiction construct, on the other hand, fits well inside Einstein's general relativity theory. It describes gravity and warping of matter with respect to space-time. Consequently, scientists have been calculating and debating whether such a gadget might be built and used to travel between the stars. Engineers must create new ways for manipulating items in space due to the lack of conclusive outcomes. All rockets, including those from SpaceX and Blue Origin, use rocket fuel, which is equivalent to gasoline in a vehicle. The problem is that since fuel burning is inefficient, that's when we start looking at other alternatives like electric or magnetic forces. Nuclear fusion, which fuels the sun, is significantly more efficient than chemical fuel. The scientists, on the other hand, are looking for something different. During a Starship conference in 2017, Dr. Miguel Alcubierre, head of the National Autonomous University of Mexico's Nuclear Sciences Institute, remembered an occurrence from 1994. He was a PhD student in physics at Cardiff University in the United Kingdom. He stated that he was watching Star Trek and wondered if there was any chance he could come up with a space-time geometry that was akin to the concept of the warp drive. Just to remind you, in science fiction, the warp drive enables you to travel at the speed of light. According to physicists, although general relativity equations are easy to write out, they are challenging. Dr. Alcubierre found a unique solution to the general relativity equations that described a warp bubble in a few unusual instances. The idea is that the bubble compresses space in front and expands it behind, creating the appearance that a spacecraft travels faster than light even if it is stationary. Let's keep things simple. Reduce the distance in front of a spaceship to a few inches in a warp bubble, then extend the region behind it to 4.4 light years. In less than 4.4 years, you'll be able to burst it out of the bubble. To cross that distance, a beam of light would be required. The closest nearby star system, for example, is Alpha Centauri, which is 4.4 light-years distant. This spacecraft has arrived at the Alpha Centauri star system. According to Dr. Alcubierre, the idea is akin to a moving walkway at an airport. He said that all you have to do is stand still and yet you move. You don't have to walk, it just propels you forward. The argument is that relativity does not limit the rate of expansion of space. According to him, space may grow at whatever pace it desires. The issue has returned to the unusual subject. The most critical missing component is that, as indicated by Dr. Alcubierre, bending space-time requires the existence of strange stuff with an energy density less than 0 as a consequence of E equals mc squared. Space is squeezed by normal gravity because everything has a positive energy density. But the anti-gravity effort required for the space expansion element of the warp drive is provided by negative energy. physics does not rule out the possibility of a negative energy density. That's where we bring in the Casimir Effect, a strange but well-known quantum mechanics phenomenon. According to this phenomenon, an empty vacuum may create electromagnetic forces that attract objects toward one another. This has been suggested as a method of generating a negative energy density. They first assumed it would need more energy than the cosmos had. Then they converted it to power by reducing it to Jupiter's mass. Now that we see it's possible, there are some physicists who caution against the idea of a warp bubble. One of the theory's most ardent proponents told the New York Times that scientists are unlikely to uncover it even if the bubble exists. Dr. Alcubierre indicated it was probably impossible within our lives, and even if it turns out to be conceivable, we are millennia away from being able to perform it. It's feasible that a warp drive could be a scientific illusion, with scientists discovering a theory proving its impossibility. Although the doctor has a concept for a warp drive, he doubts that anybody would be willing to go where no one has gone before. In a letter to the New York Times, he said his position had not altered substantially. Even though he is perhaps even more skeptical today, he notices that he never mentions spaceships and has no clue where to begin designing one. He argued that it is most likely impossible and that even if it is, we are likely millennia away from being able to do it. Energy is one factor that has prevented scientists from reaching the speed of light. Any moving object contains energy. Physicists refer to this as kinetic energy because of the way it moves. The more you enhance your kinetic energy, the faster you go. It is directly proportional. But making anything go twice as quickly requires 4 times the energy. Increasing something's rate by 3 times requires 9 times the energy, and so on. For example, to accelerate a 110-pound teen to 1% of the speed of light, 200 trillion joules would be required. A unit of this energy is equivalent to about the same energy used by 2 million people per day in the United States. Now do the math and see how much energy is needed after all. Think it's feasible? Scientists have considered the solar sail to achieve some momentum. These are large, thin plastic sheets fastened to a spacecraft that let sunlight pass through. Wind can push through the sail to further propel it. A few spacecraft have previously used solar sails as part of their functionality. Experts think a solar sail might accelerate a spaceship to 10% the speed of light. This notion is more widely recognized than warp bubbles. It should also not take a century to complete. As a result, there's a chance we'll see that concept realized shortly. Such technology might transform the idea of space travel. Traveling to destinations that take billions of years with present technology will take a few years. This will also aid in the search for undiscovered planets and stars, or maybe even life. It would be a groundbreaking invention that will finally help us realize the actual size of the cosmos. What are your thoughts on the warp bubble? What do you think would happen if a man can travel at the speed of light, or even a fraction of it? Let your imagination go wild, and please share your thoughts in the comments box below. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get updated with everything on future technology, Elon Musk, or SpaceX. Thank you for watching.